Could you say your name and where you're from, please?
My name's Charles, better known as O.T.G. or I-double-L. I'm from Champaign, Illinois, currently living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm the owner of Overtime Grind Productions, LLC, O.T.G. Daily News, and yeah.
What made you move from Champaign to Philadelphia?
The main reason why I moved from Champaign to Philadelphia is because in the Midwest we don't have a lot of outlets to get our music out. We only have Chicago, maybe Detroit, and Indianapolis. And I felt like at the time in 2011, 2010, when I decided to move, that I needed to move to a place that could get my music out further, and also a way, it's just closer to the record labels. I felt either LA, California, or New York, and Philadelphia felt the most like home and felt like it had the most avenues to get the music out. And it's one of the hardest markets to get music out, but every record label comes here as a test market to put music out. So I thought if we could make it here, we could make it anywhere.
So would you say that's the biggest difference between doing music in Champaign and doing music in Philadelphia, the opportunities?
Yeah, the music hasn't changed. I just think that there's a lot more people. And with anything you do in business, you have to have actual people to sell to. You know, my city only has probably 100,000 people. And you talk about Philadelphia is the 5th largest city in the United States. So with that just lets you know automatically it's a bigger scale of people to disperse and find people who like your product.
As far as Overtime Grind is concerned, how has being located in Philadelphia helped music-wise?
I think Philly has helped out a lot, actually. You know, Philly is a different market. You know, Philly has a bunch of people, but it's almost a melting pot of people. You know, it has a lot of Muslims, it has a lot of African American people, it has a lot of, you know, Oriental people, it has a lot of Caucasian people, and they're all in the same age group from about 34 to 35, and they still buy music, so it's helped out a lot. You know, it's the city of brotherly love. It should be called the city of brotherly truth, because people will tell you the truth if your music is good or if it's not good, and if your product is good if it's not good, and that's helped out a lot.
Okay, you said that Philadelphia is a melting pot of people in music, and O.T.G. is a melting pot of services. What services does O.T.G. have to offer?
We have digital distribution, where we take the music and we can put it on iTunes, Spotify, you know, Xbox Live, traditional online places. We do physical distribution, where we can print up your CDs and we can put them out ourselves. We have composition. I'm a composer, so we can do music for video. We have video editing services. We have, the main thing people know us for social media promotion and just promotion overall. We have a different way of doing promotion, integrating street promotion with social media promotion and brand establishment. All for songwriting. I wrote a lot of good songs. Production. Yeah, we pretty much offer any service that independent musicians may need, and a lot of services that small business can use as well.
Would you say that's the biggest difference between O.T.G. and the other leading competitors?
I think the biggest difference between us and other leading competitors is, you know, I started as a producer. I started as a promoter in street promotion when I was 17. Then I moved into DJing, or selector is what they call it, when I was 20 in Job Corps. I started producing when I turned 21, and from there I got into recording, and then I got into distributing our music ourselves. And with that, I think that's what we bring. been in the music industry and made a lot of moves, traveled a lot of states, and taught the music a very long time, from 1997 to 2009, when we first started embarking and knowing that I was going to start my own company and the road that we wanted to be on. So by the time I got to Philadelphia, I had already went through the trials and tribulations as an artist, as a producer, as a promoter, as a record label. So I pretty much know what it is people need and help them jump those hurdles that they see early in the game. So I think that's our number one thing that keeps us ahead of the competition.
That seems like a lot of stuff that you've done so far. Can you name any notable achievements you have, like people you worked with or places your music have been placed?
2009, December of 2009, through the very early stages of Overtime Grind, we maybe only had 2 Twitter profiles at the time, my personal profile and the profile for Midwest Hill Music Group, which is the publishing company, my first publishing company. I signed a deal with the Bose Music Group and the Bose Entertainment through MC Light, and I signed that through Twitter actually. I seen a tweet that MC Light put out saying that they were looking for music. Long story short, we communicated through Twitter. December 2009, my phone rang while I was washing clothes at the laundromat, and it was MC Light. As shocked as I was, it was actually MC Light. We did, I inked my first deal, my first publishing deal, and I did the Mike Vick show, the last 2 episodes of the Mike Vick show. From there, she really liked my music and what I could do, so we reworked my deal, and I did the Tiny and Toya 2 theme song, which debuted #1, is still BET's number one original series show that they've had. It debuted the same night as the NBA playoffs, Basketball Wives, and maybe something else with 1.7 million views. I produced 80% of that season, the music for that season. Trey Songz, My Moment, the reality show after that, music on T.I. and Tiny, Oxygen Channel with Martha Stewart, MTV with 10 on Top. When I was 17, Brandy, Ray J, a couple other artists. Elite 24, which is a series for ESPN about up-and-coming high school basketball players, the top 24 basketball players in the country. Recently, I just did Keisha Cole and Danny Gibson. So I've placed a lot of music on television. I've also produced B-Fly, her whole album, her first album. A lot of local rappers. In the Midwest, I've probably done 17 different singles, probably 14 whole albums from beginning to end. Production, songwriting, recording, mixing, mastering, selling, duplication, everything that comes from it. So I've worked most notably in Philly. I've worked with Tone Trump. I did the Philly Hip Hop Awards. I've worked with Asia Sparks. I've done Backcage Studio. I've done Philly Bass. Some of the biggest campaigns in Philly I've had my hands in one way or another, whether it's just social media promotion, whether it's coming up with a marketing strategy or contributing music. We contribute a lot of things and done a lot of things.
What do you think has been OTG's biggest obstacle?
The biggest obstacle is getting people to understand that when you tweet something, first, when you put anything on social media, it's like the black box. So everything stays. So there is no such thing as a throwaway tweet or a throwaway statement. So the first thing that I have a problem with a lot of artists is that, they don't understand what they said yesterday or what they say today can affect them tomorrow or can affect them a year from now. That's the first thing. And the second thing is being proactive. A lot of people don't plan through what they want to do. They have an idea where they want to go, what they think their music should be, where they feel it should go, but they don't really plan through that. So, for example, if I decide to give a show on, let's say, July 18th, I spend all my time planning for July 18th. I don't really think about what I'm going to do July 19th. And that's the number one problem. The third problem, I would say, would be just getting people to understand that you need to work every day. Most people tend to, most of the time my phone rings a week before the event, a week before the CD comes out, a week before they drop the single. And using social media, you have to be proactive and you have to attack it constantly. You have to think that just because you're on at 7 p.m. doesn't mean I'm on at 7 p.m. So by the time I get to Twitter, whatever it is, Twitter, Facebook, wherever your crutch is, by the time I get there, whatever you're promoting is gone. A lot of people don't think that. They just kind of think, I gotta get this out right now. Okay, I sent my tweet. I did what I had to do online. I'm good. Let me get out in the streets. And they don't ever really see a turnaround. And having a social media business, the hardest thing is people think about the return on investment, the ROI. They don't understand that you could pay for a billboard and you can't guarantee 2 million people see that billboard. Social media is a lot different, but in people's mind, they don't think you can test the metrics or have the analytics to see who's looking or to see where the people came from. So, we do a lot of fighting with that people don't understand that you should invest in yourself. You should invest in this type of marketing along with everything else that you have going. You can't just depend on the social media or on street promotion or on one thing anymore. This is an independent man's market. You have to cover every basis. So, that's where we get more into consulting. Because people come in, they want to buy a service, we sell them the service, and then when they walk away, they're happy with the service, but they still don't understand how to utilize it. When you buy my service, you really shouldn't stop. If you're going to be an artist for a long period of time, then you should have my service the whole time while you're an artist, because that's what we bring to the table. We're the number one most consistent social media business, I want to say, on the East Coast. We have not stopped tweeting or have not stopped promotion online in 3 years. I can stand here and say that we've had 30 days downtime out of 365 days every year. So yearly I have a month's downtime to update our system, but we constantly run, and even when we're down, we constantly run. So I think that's what makes us number one. I think that's the biggest problem also, is that people don't long-term plan. They do a lot of short-term plans and they shortchange themselves. Us as a business, we're going to constantly be here. But my goal is to make artists that are going to constantly be here, and business that's going to constantly be here, and over time grows with that business.